If you are a DJ that likes to use loops, beat effects, beat jumps, and hot cues in your DJ sets, then there is one setting in your DJ software that you need to fully understand and set up correctly to ensure that all of this stuff works properly so that your DJ set does not go out of time. I am talking about Quantize, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is, what it does, and how to set it up correctly. And if we have not met before, my name is Karl Thomas. I'm a club DJ with over 20 years of experience. This channel is all about helping you level up as a DJ, and without further ado, we're getting straight into it. So what exactly is Quantize? Well, basically in music, all it means is that you are fixing your performance to a musical grid that is divided into beats. So you upload a track into your DJ software, Rekordbox, Serato, DJ Pro. It analyzes the track, and of course it divides that track into the beats. You can see those different segments. That is of course the beat grid. So all it means is that when you put Quantize on in the settings, it just locks your performance down to the beat grid. Everything snaps to the beat grid, therefore making it harder, if set up correctly, to go out of time. Let's jump onto the controller and the laptop, and I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail. Now, when it comes to using Quantize, the work actually begins in your DJ software before you even jump onto your controller or your CDJs, whatever setup you are using. So we're in Rekordbox at the moment. I've got a track loaded in the browser. We're just in export mode at the moment, and it looks like it's analyzed the beat grid pretty accurately. You can see there the kicks pretty much line up, but I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and actually upon zooming in you can see there it hasn't quite hit the mark correctly. The kicks are just a little bit out. Now for very short term effects or a quick loop or something, you probably won't notice too much of a difference, but if you start extending that out for any period of time, then things will start to fall out of time, and it will not be immediately obvious as to why that is. So it is always down to the beat grid. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shift the whole beat grid slightly to the right so everything lines up. That's all perfect. By the way, if you do want a more in-depth tutorial on all of these beat grid settings, I do have a dedicated video on the channel. I'll leave a link down in the description for you. But today, I'm just going to do that very quickly. So we are now all good to go in terms of demonstrating Quantize, and everything will be in time perfectly. Now, Quantize is one feature of many that you are going to need to understand and master if you want to get to grips with DJing properly. So if you have just bought your first DJ controller, maybe you've been inspired by some big names over the summer, and you want to learn how to DJ properly in a structured approach, plus get feedback on your DJ mixes, then do check out my Ultimate Beginner DJ course over on djresources.net. Okay, so welcome onto the trusty FLX4. Got a couple of tracks loaded into Rekordbox. The track we just analysed in deck 1 and some random a cappella in deck 2. Quantize, first and foremost, is very easy to find and very easy to switch on and off in Rekordbox. It's literally just this little Q button next to the virtual decks. Toggle it on. If it's highlighted in blue, Quantize is on, and if you want to press it again, you switch it off. It's as easy as that. Now, one place where Quantize can really help massively, or may not help depending on your situation, is on setting manual loops. So this is where you are setting loops manually by pressing in and out. So without Quantize switched on, let me just get that track playing. Notice there, it sounds slightly out of time. So you have to really concentrate in order to get the loop precisely to the beat, okay? So it can be pretty hard to do in a live environment. I remember old DJ equipment that didn't have Quantize at all. Like, I would generally avoid using loops because I always was a bit fearful that I, wouldn't hit the in and out bang on time. And honestly, it sounds awful if you get it wrong. However, all of your worries are going to go away if you have Quantize switched on. So same example, Quantize is now switched on, got the track playing. everything snaps to that beat grid. So it's nice and clean. You don't have to worry, you don't have to concentrate too much, which is really good if you're getting distracted by, I don't know, customers or something like that. Now, one thing that I will say is that when you are importing your tracks into your DJ software, this can still go wrong if the beat grid is not analyzed correctly. Just make sure that you do step 1 of this tutorial first for every single track, and you won't have to worry too much. Couple of things to note: if you are using the 4-beat button or something like that, whatever your DJ controller has, this is always going to be quantized, no matter if you have Quantize activated or not on your DJ software. And the same can be said about beat jump and beat loop as well. Those are always quantized no matter what. Again, as I reiterated in point 1, you just need to make sure that your beat grids are analyzed correctly, because that is the data that the software is using in order to create those loops. The cue point. This is never impacted by Quantize, so you can always stutter your tracks. It doesn't matter if you've got Quantize on or off. The cue point will always behave in the same way. And it just relies on your button pushes. However, hot cues are directly impacted by Quantize, and okay, they will always jump to the Quantize value which you have set. So in Rekordbox, you can set your Quantize value. The default is 1 beat. However, you can scale it back to half a beat, a quarter of a beat, an eighth of a beat, etc., etc. And this is where it can either be very helpful, but it also can be a detriment to your performance. So this is where you need to think carefully about if Quantize is going to be the right setting for you, and there could be different situations. So without Quantize switched on, let's get that track playing. And just like what I showed you with the cue point, if I activate the hot cue, I can stutter that hot cue as much as I want. I can hammer that button and it plays the track as I'm hammering the button. It's very, very reactive. However, if I do the same with Quantize on, remember I'm set to a 1 beat value on Quantize, and I'll hammer that button again. But notice it is only allowing 1 press for every beat of that BPM, because the Quantize is not letting those other presses through. Now, again, this can be very useful for making sure that your tracks start on time if you're hitting that hot cue once to start the track. However, it can be detrimental if you are, say, using acapellas in a mix, maybe you're using different notes in the mix. Especially if you need to play things in between beats, because you've got to remember that everything is snapping to the beat grid. Take this a cappella that I have on deck number 2. Put your hands up in the air. Now you might want to create a little bit of a rhythm that goes put your hands up or something like that. Put your hands up, put your hands up. But if I have Quantize on, it's going to snap to that 1 beat. Hands up, put your hands. It always snaps to the put your, and it's allowing too much of that sound effect through. So just bear that in mind, because in those situations you might want to have Quantize switched off. Now, very quickly before we finish, if you do want to adjust the beat settings in Quantize, here in Rekordbox, you hit the settings cog there. Controller on the left menu, go to others, and then here we have the Quantize values. So what you can do here is actually set the beat values. Now by default it's always set to 1 beat, but you can actually reduce that. So for the hot cues, for example, if you want to create a little bit more of a stuttering effect, but you don't want to turn off Quantize, just reduce down Quantize down to like an 1/8 or a 1/16 of a beat and make sure that it is enabled. Or you can just disable Quantize from hot cues EQs entirely. And exactly the same can be said for the loop and the samplers as well. Massive shout out to all my members as always. As ever, leave me any questions or comments you have down in the comments down below, and I will catch you in the next video.